a friend of mine, he asked me, like, you should share some of your Speedway stories with people. And I was thinking, I have a few of those. And a lot of you don't remember, but I was a pretty good Speedway rider when I was like 17, 18 years old. And then I stopped at like age 18, but I had competed against the best Speedway riders in the United States at that time and had some success. And I ended up going to college and things like that. So I kind of ruined my early day Speedway career. But today, this friend of mine, he lived on my street in Orange, and his name is Bernie. And I haven't talked with Bernie since childhood practically. And he sent me a friend request on the Facebook. And I'm like, I remember that guy, but we never talked before for our whole life. And today he messaged me, and he doesn't talk to me very much. And he said, you know, I read a story about you in a magazine, and it's a story about your early day racing. And I had no idea it made it into a magazine. I don't know what magazine. I'm asking him, like, what magazine is this? But he said that this is a true story that happened. So I'm kind of wondering, like, where this information came out. But I was racing at the Grand in about 2007 or 8. And I was, after the races, staying there, signing autographs and stuff like that. I had a fairly successful season. I had won the support track championship and the points championship in support class. I never could get up to Division I and compete with the big guns because I was kind of older, and I felt pretty good about like having success in support. So that was pretty cool for me, being an old guy. And the story goes like this, is after the races in 2008, I was signing autographs and meeting the fans and stuff, which I like to do. I'm kind of a friendly, personable guy. And I'm meeting these guys, and this old guy comes up to me and says, can I talk to you for a minute? And I said, sure, because I'm friendly, I'll listen to everybody. And he said, I have to tell you this story that happened a long time ago at the Santa Ana Bowl. And I'm thinking, I raced at that Santa Ana Bowl. And he said, I was a spectator at that track, and I went every week, and I saw your son racing, and he was the most fantastic racer. He was really gifted, he was really fast, and he won a lot of races. And he was the top racer in Division I at that Speedway track with the likes of Cody, John Cook, Denny Pyatt, lots of these guys, Radical Randy Marsh. The list goes on and on and on. And I'm thinking, I don't have a son that was racing. And I'm like, that was me because I was racing there. And I told the guy, the spectator, I have to tell you the story. It's true. But the boy that you saw racing at the Santa Ana Bowl, that was me. And he about died. He goes, you're kidding me. That was you? And I go, yeah, that was me. And he just like freaked out, like he was like, oh my gosh, you are so good. And I'm like, well, I got a little older now, so I'm not as good as I was, but I just still racing Speedway, even though I'm not in my top prime as a racer anymore. But it was kind of a funny story. And then it made a magazine, and I don't know what magazine it was in, but I always remembered that story. It was kind of a weird story because the guy thought I had a son who was a good racer, and the son turned out to be me. I was the son, but I wasn't the son. It was me. So that was kind of an interesting story. And this guy who I haven't talked to pretty much my whole life, and I have never told this story to, he told me about it today. And some of my friends, they asked me, like, tell a couple of the race stories. And I have a few of them.